Jesse Tucker.
And Nicole Smith.
From Blood and Iron Martial Arts.
Historical manuals typically focus on techniques that have a wide range of applications and fall within the fighting system of the author.
Now, every once in a while, they'll throw in a technique that would normally be considered a cheap shot. And you, as responsible, martial, and honorable fighters, would obviously never employ these against the persons that you're fighting. But, so you recognize them when you see them, let's dive right into it.
The first cheap shot we're going to look at is overgripping your sword.
Now, this comes in context of a German fectual match, where the objective is to split the scalp of your opponent using a blunted Federschwert or feather sword.
Now, if you don't have to deliver a proper cut, and all I'm looking to do is make the head bleed, you can just reach over top of my sword. But there is a limit to this.
Unless this next one comes to us from the Kushner's Messer, and while it's not explicitly stated, by context it infers that you're going to be fighting an armored opponent.
Now, when fighting in armor, it's very common to use your hand on the blade. It's great for hooking techniques and displacing thrusts.
Now, that being said, perhaps you don't want to throw a thrust or a straight up cut to your opponent. So what you can do is you can throw the odd surprise their way and toss them an Hail Mary instead.
Now, keep in mind, this is an absolutely brutal shot, and even through armor, you're most likely going to destroy the knee. And you better hope that they don't see it coming, because it's a very simple thing to void the leg and strike to the head. Now, it should go without saying, don't use this on someone that you actually like during sparring, or even someone that you don't like, because worst case scenario, when everything goes successfully, you're going to send someone to the hospital, even with protective equipment. So if you thought the last two were cheap shots, at least they didn't require any special equipment. So this next one's going to come to us from an Italian fencing master, which some of us may know by the name of Fiore, in where he actually describes filling up a cavity in a specially designed hollow poleaxe with a caustic and corrosive black powder to spring it at your opponent's eyes as you're throwing the weapon around. Even if they manage to block the weapon, they're still getting a face full of powder. Fighting at night can be quite tricky, especially without modern street lights or movie set lighting so you can see everything. So this next one is going to come to us from an 18th century fencing master by the name of Domenico Angelo. And while he doesn't actually advocate using this technique to his students, he is worried enough about it that he warns them against it. Basically, the idea is you have a concealed lantern to blind your opponent and then you stab them. Now, we don't actually have a lantern on hand, so we're making do, and modern problems require modern solutions. Now, all the techniques that we've just shown you are from historical sources, but we didn't say they were all good ones. This next one comes to us from an actual Gypsy Knife fighting manual, so you know it's good. Basically, the way it works is you pretend to lose your hat, and as you bend down to pick it up, you knife them in the abdomen. It can also be described as pretending to fall or lose your balance and then doing the same. So, some of these may actually be really clever, and there is a reason why they can be pulled off and carry someone by surprise. But if you don't catch them by surprise, you're pretty much screwed. Now, that being said, there is a definite reason why people actually trained martial arts rather than relying on tricky one-shots. But for now, we hope you enjoyed learning a little bit of what sword fighting usually didn't look like.